Hello everyone, I hope you all are doing very well. If this is your first time stopping by, my name is Ramu. I'm from Bugajikaran Cooks. You are very welcome. Please do not forget to subscribe if you haven't already done so. Do not forget to like, do not forget to share this video, and do not forget to comment on this video as well, because I always love to hear your thoughts too. So today I am going to be showing you guys how I prepare this Ghana jollof rice. Jollof rice is very common throughout West Africa, and there are various ways of cooking it when you go to different countries. So with further ado, let's get right into the video. Get started, guys. These are all the ingredients that will be going into the rice, so I'll be going through them with you step by step. So in this bowl here, I've got my mutton, that's the sheep. I mainly use sheep, that's the meat and bone, which the butcher has cut for me into sizes, into medium sizes. So I've got there my onions, the brown and red onions, habanero pepper, and I've got there some ginger, and I've got some garlic, and there's some spring onions, some yellow and red bell peppers, and I've got carrots here. I think they were about 4 carrots that I peeled the skin off, washed, and then cut them. And I've got there some peas that's mixed with carrots and some sweet corn, that's mixed vegetables. And I'm gonna be adding the dark soy sauce, and I've got there my beef seasoning. So you can use any kind of beef seasoning that you have. As always, I'll be using this vegeta seasoning as well. And this is the basmati rice I'm going to be using. So this is the brand that I usually use. Yep. And there you have some table salt, and that's thyme, that's the dried thyme. And I'm going to be using some curry powder, that's bay leaves, and that's tomato puree. Yeah, so there is the chopped tomatoes. You can use fresh if you have. So I'm using 2 cans of the chopped tomatoes, and this is just leftover passata sauce that I had. These are the ones that you get in those small boxes that you find in the supermarket, so I thought I would just use it. And there at the corner is the oil, so I'm using that sunflower oil. So these are all the ingredients that I'm going to be using. You can choose to opt out or to use any seasoning that you have in your cupboard. Also forgot to mention that I'm going to be using this black pepper as well. It was something that I forgot to include in the ingredients. So first up here, what I'm doing is just adding some of the habanero pepper with some of the chopped onions, which I'm going to be blending. Then I added some ginger, then I added some garlic, peeled and washed of course, and I'm going to be adding some water. So I'm going to be blending it. Then once that is blended, so I'm adding the meat into my pot, my cooking pot. So it's quite a large pot, so that you can take all of that meat in. So I poured in all of the meat, and then I'm going to be pouring in the onions and the pepper mixture in. So what you want to add next is just to add some of the dried thyme. Thyme is really nice and goes really well with meat. So I added some thyme. Then I'm going to be adding some salt. Then I add some of the beef seasoning. Like I said, you can add any kind of seasoning that you have in your stock, in your kitchen cupboard. So these are the things that I added, and I also poured in the onion mixture that we blended. Yeah, so I'm going to be steaming the meat. Yeah, this gives the meat really nice flavor, guys. If you don't do this, please try this method. This is how the Ghanaians cook their jollof rice. In Gambia, we cook it. We cook jollof rice. We don't call it jollof rice anyway. We call it benachin. Ours is really nice too, but the way we cook it and the way the Ghanaians cook it is quite different. Yeah, so I've tried both methods, and I like each and every one of them. Yeah, so I just want to show you guys how I do this one. So now in a pot here, in a separate pot rather, I added some oil, then I added some of the chopped onions. So there's the brown onions and the red onions, and I'm gonna fry that. Then I added tomato puree. So I added a generous amount, I think about 2 tablespoons of the tomato puree. So I'm gonna cook that into the oil, you know, until all the tomato puree is dissolved into the oil and the onions, until it is really well cooked. Yes, as you can see here on the side here, the meat is it's steaming very well. You can see it has released most of its own juices, and yeah, so I'm just gonna check to see if it is cooked now. With muffin, it's quite a tough meat, a little bit tough, so you want to give it some time to cook. But as you can see here, it is soft now, so I'm going to be removing it. You don't want to leave it until all the juice has drained out, no, because you still need that stock for the rice, so that the rice can have some taste as well. So I'm just removing all of the meat into my baking tray. Just to mention something quickly, guys, you can fry the meat at this point if you want. You can fry it into some hot oil, but I don't want to use too much oil in this recipe. So what I'm doing is just putting mine in the oven. Yeah, so I put mine in the oven to brown a little bit. So here I am into my blender. I poured in the chopped tomatoes, the 2 tins of chopped tomatoes, and my leftover passata sauce that I showed you guys earlier. So I poured it into a blender. Then these are all the other vegetables that I'm going to be blending as well. So that's the red yellow bell peppers with some garlic, some spring onions, yeah. So I'm gonna put it all that into the blender. This is what we are going to be using to make the stew. Yes. So I'm just adding in the vegeta seasoning. That's the vegetable seasoning, and some black pepper. Then once that I've blended that, so I poured it into this the onions and the tomato puree. So I poured it in here, and so I'm going to cook that. That's the stew. So this is the way the Ghanaians cook it. They will cook their stew separately first, and then they will add the other ingredients like the meat and the rice into it. So you just want to cook this until the tomatoes is all cooked. You know, there is no water. You can't see any water bubbling up on the oil. Yes, can you guys see? So you might want to use a non-stick pan for this, because you don't want the tomatoes to burn. I also forgot to mention that at this point as well, you can add your bay leaves in for extra flavor. Oh my god, at this point, guys, my house was filled with such a lovely aroma. Yes, the stew is smelling delicious. Yeah, so you can see now I'm just adding in some beef seasoning. Yes, it's about 1.5 tablespoons of the beef seasoning. That's what I added in there. Then that's the time I added the dark soya sauce. You don't have to add soya sauce if you don't want to, or if you don't have it. Yeah. So, but this stew still tastes delicious, and it still smells amazing. Yeah. Very nice. So you just want to cook it, like I said, until there is no water. The stew is dry. Yes. Now can you see it's dry? Now I'm adding in the rice. Yes. Also, to mention that you have to wash your rice beforehand. Wash the rice and soak it in some water, yes, for some time. In Gambia, the way we prepare our benachin, usually the rice, we will wash it and then we'll put it in the microwave or a steamer to steam it for a little bit, just to parboil it. But with this method, no, you don't have to parboil the rice. Just wash your rice very well and just soak it in a little bit of water just to soften it a bit. Yes, try this method, guys. My rice came out delicious. You will see in the rest of the video. So you just want to mix that all together. You know, at this point you can add more seasoning, more chili powder if you want, you know, any kind of seasoning that you want to add at this point. But mine was enough. I've added enough seasoning for my liking. Then I'm pouring it the beef stock. That's the same juice that we used to the juice that came out from the meat earlier, if you remember, guys, the meat that we steamed. Yeah. So like I said before, you don't have to leave all that water to dry up, just so that you can add some of that beef stock into the rice. So that's what I did here. Then you look, as you can see here, the meat came out from the oven. You know, you can't even tell that it wasn't fried. So like I said, I don't want to use too much oil for this recipe, hence I put it in the oven, and you can see it got the brown color that I wanted, so it's not too hard. So for me, I like to add the meat into the rice to cook with it so that the meat can soften up, because if you do put meat in the oven at times without any sauce or gravy, the meat sometimes can come out feeling dry. In order to avoid that, you just want to put it into the rice, you know, so that it can cook and all those seasonings can attack each other, you know what I mean. And the taste is just amazing. Yeah, so after I mix that all together, and now you just want to add the carrots at this point, because carrots can be a bit tough, so you want to add it at this point so that it can cook with the rice. Yeah, so I added in the carrots, and I'm gonna cover it and just let it cook. Yes, let it cook for some time. You do not forget to reduce the heat as well. Yes, it's best to leave it at medium to low heat. After about 20 minutes, I came to check on the rice. You want to flip it over just so that the top part of the rice can cook as well, and you want to quickly cover it so that you don't lose the steam, because the steam is what helps the rice cook. So now I'm just going to be adding in the mixed vegetable. That's the peas and the carrots and the sweet corn. So that's what I poured on top, and I'm gonna be covering it. These were already cooked anyway, so I just wanted it to absorb some of the flavor. Yeah, so I'm gonna be covering it and leave it to cook for some time again. So after some time of letting the rice cook, when I came back to check on it, I realized that the rice wasn't cooked enough. So do not add any water at this point, guys. Please do not add any water to help cook the rice. You don't need any more water. All you need is the steam to cook the rice. So this is a tip that I'm giving you guys, is just cover it with some aluminum foil. Yes, I realized that I was losing most of the steam from the lid itself. So when you place all of the aluminum foil on it and then cover it again, give it some time to cook, it will cook perfectly. And after 20 minutes again, when I came back to check on the rice was cooked perfectly. Yes, it was cooked perfectly without needing to add any more water. As you can see, guys, it's beautiful, and the aroma and the smell, it's just amazing. You can smell it from far distance. Yes, can you see? Beautifully cooked. Like I said before, jollof rice can be prepared in so many ways. In Gambia, we call it benachin. We love our benachin, and it's amazing. The way we cook it is beautiful, but I also like the way the Ghanaians also cook theirs. For me, in my household, I like to try all kinds of different country recipes. However one's cook it, as long as I taste it and it tastes amazing and delicious, I will try and recreate the dish at my house. So this was a plate for me, guys. So I served mine with some side salad. I could not wait to dig right into this food. It was so delicious. Thank you so much, guys, for watching this video. I hope you guys will try this recipe out. If you do, please let me know how it came out. Thank you for watching, and I will see you guys in my next video.